Okay, this is a late subject, but I felt like talking about it. I am a bit of a fan of Clive Barker, and I'm going to make this short. Clive Barker is he's an artist, he's a writer, he has written a few movies, and he's also directed a few movies. And in my opinion, he's only really done one good movie, and that was the first Hellraiser. But as many people will obviously attest and point out, he does tend to do kind of the same thing. I think the only time he ever did something different was Candyman and that film Nightbreed. And what I mean by the same thing is that he always tends to have this knack for creating monsters that are a lot like the Cenobites, wherein, they're creepy dominatrix slash masochistic sadists, where they have chains and hooks and shit, just coming off of their skin, and hanging from their arms, and they use those as weapons. The reason why I'm talking about this is I was rewatching a Let's Player who I subscribe to and watch on YouTube. His name is Luke Nutzman. Check out his stuff. I think he's pretty funny, and he's done a lot of Let's Plays. And one of those Let's Plays he did was of Clive Barker's Jericho, a game that came out 2006, 2007, I think. I had played it when it first came out, and I really didn't like it that much. It's a first-person shooter. It has a lot of team squad control and such, but it wasn't a very good game from what I understand. From everything I've been reading about it, it didn't do very well. But from what I've been looking into and watching and reading up on, what gets me is the fact that, this is obviously a bad game, but the story was actually pretty good, and it was actually pretty interesting, and a lot of the characters were pretty interesting too. I mean, the dialogue and the voice acting can be pretty bad at times, but what I wonder is if this game might have been better had it not just been a first-person shooter. That's something that I really wonder about. Because this game felt like... Now, granted, I played it sometime when it first came out, and maybe there were some glitches, and maybe some things were fixed in patches or DLC or whatever. But I remember this game feeling a bit glitchy at times, such as, you'd be in combat, and sometimes the crosshair, it felt like the aiming for the game was a bit too shifty, or too sensitive, in that when you try to aim so precisely at your target that you can never get a proper bead on them. And a lot of the magic stuff, I was rather disappointed because I thought, right away when you started playing the game, you'd be switching from character to character and be able to use all their abilities and shit. That really doesn't come in until probably about 15 or 20 minutes later into the game, when, spoilers, the team leader dies. His body is destroyed, but his spirit lives on, and then because of that, you're able to jump from character to character and control them and use their powers. And a lot of them do have different powers, but they all, of course, seem to have the same ability to, whenever a teammate's down, I can go over and heal them. I think I would like to play Jericho again, having seen a lot of the story and a lot of the in-game cutscenes, it does make for a pretty interesting game, and reading up on some of the characters' bios up here on the website, does actually kind of make me wish this game was better than it was. Now, you really have to wonder whose fault that is, because from what I understand about this game, Clive Barker had complete creation control on this game, actually. But he's not a gamer. He's a writer. He is a good writer. He is. But if you're not a gamer and you're making a game, but you care more about the story, that could, be a hindrance and probably be a problem. But, and I don't know if this game really was that much of a success at all. I think it got some okay reviews. Obviously, probably the biggest complaint that this game got was the fact that the ending sucks, because there's really no ending. There really isn't. There's really no conclusion. And that some of the characters feel kind of cliche at times, and that there are scenes that just come off as really stupid. But a lot of what happens in the game, and a lot of what's revealed, is pretty interesting. I think I would want to try playing this again. Maybe. If you guys want to check out Luke's Let's Play, just type in, I believe if you're looking for him, probably type in Luke Nutzman, it's one word, and type in Let's Play Jericho Blind. Or you can just look for me on YouTube under Jordan83709, and you'll find him among my subscriptions, also among a few others. That was really all I wanted to talk about, was that. And, really for me, this is the first time I've ever, probably the first and only time that an author has dabbled in making video games. And maybe there's obviously a good reason why that doesn't happen a lot. But this could have come out much worse. It really could have. Imagine every movie tie-in game. They always suck. There have been a few very rare exceptions to the argument. There have been a few rare exceptions where there have been movie tie-in games that were actually pretty good. Yeah, the story still sucked, but the gameplay was really fun. And I'll give you a great example. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was actually a good game. The game, that's an example where the game was better than the movie. And don't get me wrong, the story was still stupid. It still sucked. But the gameplay was fun. Because you got to be Wolverine, and it was incredibly violent. You're chopping off dudes' arms, you're chopping off their legs. You're lunging into, crowds of people. You're getting riddled with bullets, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. You get to fight a Sentinel at one point. A full-sized giant in fact, you fight two Sentinels at one point in this game. First you fight, a rather small Sentinel, and then you fight a fully sized, large Sentinel. So it's like, oh man, this is awesome, I get to fight a Sentinel. Yeah, so there are rare exceptions to the argument. So, yeah, there you go. I just wanted to talk about that. Check out Luke Nutzman. If you at all have any interest in this game, be advised that it's a horror game. It's a horror action game. So, it's overly violent. There's a lot of language in it. As we expected, really, it was just about any kind of a first-person shooter. So check out Luke Nutzman, and check him out, support him, subscribe, watch his stuff, and I will see you guys later.